I get to introduce our first primary speaker tonight, and that's Adam Apollo. And he's a remarkable human being. Let's just start with this is someone who has had, since childhood, numerous experiences with extraterrestrials and multidimensional reality. And that in itself is, I find the people that have those experiences have come into this world as master souls to teach us, to lead the way, to help in this incredible new paradigm. And boy, has Adam showed up in that way. He's been a featured speaker on future technology and unified physics at the White House, the United Nations, and conferences all around the world. He's the founder and CEO of a very important organization for us to keep track of, Superluminal Systems. He built the Resonance Academy for Unified Physics, and he has been writing the college-level modern physics module, exploring physics history. So he has taken these amazing experiences and downloads that he's received and is applying it to the real world. So Adam, thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for your service to humankind.
Thank you. Such a pleasure, Scott. Thank you for the warm introduction. It's so nice to be here with all of you again. And tonight, I have a very important topic to speak on, and one that is dear to my heart and central in many ways to all of my work, from unified physics to spirituality to our relationship with the galactic family, to our ancient wisdom keepers around the world and the medicine and teachings that they have to bring to us. And that topic is sovereignty. This is a fascinating word, isn't it? To be sovereign, to be ruler of one's own domain, to be a kingdom of oneself or a queendom of oneself. But what is sovereignty? What is the power of choice? Where does it come from? And when we look at the universe through the lens of spiritual development and the contexts of masters and avatars across the ages, oftentimes our takeaway is that the journey of being is to, over time, slowly drop away the shells of individuality, to relinquish, in a sense, the part of us that is individuated, such that we may be able to open ourselves to experiencing the truth that we are one, that we are all connected, that everything is divine, that all is God, and for many, that God is you, that God is me, that we are God essence. And so how do we reconcile this journey to discovering our divine truth, the nature of our interconnectedness as creators of the universe, with the aspects of individual choice, the moment-to-moment decisions that we make? Well, in order to more deeply understand this beautiful divine paradox, it's important for us to understand physics of space-time. How is all of this creation that was created, if you created it, or if I, made to serve our experience of being? Well, if you went to basic high school physics class or college, which you know that everything is made up of atoms, not ADAMs, but ATOMs, and that these atoms are protons and neutrons, and they've got a little cloud of electrons and electrical charge spinning around them. They chain together, forming molecules, and the lattices of molecules give us the perception of wood versus metal, though both are hard, or water versus vodka, though both are liquid and clear. It is molecules that give us the experience and of the expression of the structure that we then identify as things with our minds. Yet within those molecules, there's this field of light swirling and moving and vibrating. And that field of light vibration, the electromagnetic vibration, the electron field, is reflecting back to us and communing within us the vibration of all things around us. And we experience that vibration as feelings, as emotions, sometimes subtle, sometimes overwhelming. Sometimes a vibration can cause one of our glands to literally orgasm into a release of chemical vibrations throughout our body that all our cells then interpret as a very, very strong feeling. Yet inside that field of vibration, there is these protons and neutrons. Well, what are those? Well, first off, neutrons, when they're released from the center of an atom, they decay back into a proton, meaning that they literally release a little bit of energy, reset their spin, and they're a proton within a split second, hundredths of a second, thousandths of a second in most cases. And so what we're really dealing with when we are dealing with all that this is protons. Protons are like the fundamental little sphere, the space-time that could curve itself enough to forming this individualized essence, this individualized thing that's literally just a ball of space-time curved around itself and spinning at the speed of light. And that object, that little tiny thing, is where we get all of our experience of mass and matter from. The matière, the mother, the experience of Gaia, the experience of Maya, the universe itself is composed of these little protons. Well, I've had the pleasure and privilege to work with a dear colleague, Nassim Haramein, who many of you know, and built an academy to help bring his work through. And in the process, as that academy was ramping up, he developed an equation to figure out how many little oscillations of space-time itself exist within a proton. For he and I and many others had long come to realize that all of space-time is this beautiful energetic lattice, a field. We are inside a superfluid crystalline field that is communicable, that vibrates me to you to we can exchange, we can feel. Mothers can feel when their kids scrape their knees in the yard. We are interconnected by the field of entanglement that braids us together in this fabric of space-time. And that field fabric is made of just a bunch of little oscillations of light. It's literally just all light. And so a proton is actually just this field of light that has curved enough to wrap back around on itself and become this little ball. And protons never die. They last forever. They are, for all intents and purposes, eternal. We think it might take 4 lifetimes of our universe for a proton to decay. So that should alone tell you just how important the protons are. But in my own work, I took Nassim's calculation for how many oscillations exist within a single proton, which is in the volume of the proton about 10 to the 60th Planck spherical oscillations. Now, that's a 10 with 60 zeros after it, right? That's a big number. But I discovered that if you take the amount of time that we have existed within this universe, and we look at the earliest evidence that we have of the birth of the universe, and we calculate that into the span of time that the entire universe has been alive and been in being, it turns out that there's 10 to the 60th Planck seconds in the lifetime of the entire universe. What this suggests is that every moment of the universe, every second of time experienced, is encoded in every proton. meaning that every single particle and every part of our body is literally a hard drive storing the memory of the entire universe. And so there we have it. The oneness is inside the thing, the proton, this seemingly separate object, because there's different protons in here than there is in here. And yet we're both storing the field of memory of all time. Isn't that interesting? And so when we begin to look at ourselves, we begin to see, wait a minute, I don't have to try to achieve oneness. I don't have to work to experience the divine. In fact, I am the entire memory of the universe already encoded in form. And I also have my own individualized stream of experience. And the stream of my own experience is my own lens. It is how my little part of this universe, of this divine expression, this massive crystalline beauty sees itself. And there is so much preciousness in that acknowledgement and so much sacredness in my own view, my own perception, my own choice, including my own mental constructs and the ways that I create limits and games for myself to overcome certain challenges and grow deeper into my own being. And the choices that I also make to claim my space, my truth, my essence, the choices that I make to support others and see them for who they truly are, and support them for whatever choices they may make. For when we deeply get in touch with the key to individuality, this essence of truth in who we are, both as individual beings and as divine collective beings, when we look at the unified harmonic matrix, which I teach often, half of our energetic vehicle is dedicated to us individually, while the other half of our energetic vehicle is dedicated to us experiencing us collectively. And there's a bridge between the two, and that bridge is both the source of all harmony, of all peace, of all communion, and it can also be the place that we feel when we're separate and we're different the most intensively. And that place in the center between our collective physical, emotional, mental, and our individual mental, emotional, and physical is our heart. Our heart as a singularity, a spark in the center that is intrinsically interconnected with the truth of all being and the eternity of all being, also knows what it means to be alone, to be individual, to be one, and maybe in oneness, being alone as the only thing that exists, as the everything. It is love, and it is all of the beautiful tension and change and challenge that comes with living love and expressing love across all of its layers and dimensions. If we are going to live with love, if we are going to choose to be in service to all life, if we are going to go on the journey to discovering the true nature of ourselves and claiming who we are, then we must claim and acknowledge the sovereignty of every other being. The power of each person's choice is part of a trust that exists between us. It is the heart of common and natural law. It is the deepest truth that we actually can live and express with each other, which is me saying, I know who I am, and I'm going to honor you for who you are and all you are and whatever it is that you choose. I'm going to honor it. I may not agree with it. I might think it's crazy, but I'm going to honor that choice that you are making, because I understand through myself that my own choices are the very things that have enabled me to evolve into the being that I am. It is my choices that illustrate the painting of my soul upon the world. It is my choices and the honoring of my own choices that help me to love myself, no matter what it is that I face. It is my choice, and it is my freedom to make that choice that matters most. And through that, I can be love, I can be living, I can be honoring, and we can be in grace together.
Let's just all take that in. He just explained the nature of the universe and our beautiful role in it, and the power of unconditional love and acceptance in 15 minutes. I was really like, I'm going to make a snippet of just that 15-minute download at him and get it out to the world, because that was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Adam is always up to all sorts of extraordinary things. Tell us about your deck. Tell us about what we're looking at here, Adam.
Yeah. So I'm doing a really fun project to raise money for our 3D social operating system and distributed social web so that we can all get outside of the FB empire. And one of the projects that we're doing to raise money for that, and to also communicate some of the deeper science and mathematics of the universe to people, is a project called Galactic NFTs, where we're actually taking different crop circles across time where our star family has encoded high-level mathematics.
Not right here,
where our star family has encoded high-level mathematics and geometry and scientific principles into these very simple sigils, these seals, which contain this immense depth of wisdom. And so I decided to take some of my own work and really like the evolution of 15 years of my art to produce these crop circles again, but in their original illuminated light forms, the way that the original codes would look if you were plugging it in on the starship from the divine source, from the universal construct, and plugging it into the starship to then sonically emit onto the wheat and use your light and sound array to craft these specific circles. And so it's a really fun project. We're going to be launching it later this month. You can get on my list at adamapollo.com or follow me on Instagram or Facebook, and you'll see when I post the release. But we've got an amazing array of some really deep, epic galactic architecture to be sharing out there to the world. And we hope you guys come and participate with this fundraiser for us.
Oh my God, that sounds fantastic. You know, the crop circles is such a remarkable thing. God bless my wife who passed away. We did a documentary film and we were shooting in the crop circles, of course, trying to figure out what it means. And she said, I think it's a kindergarten class on some highly developed extraterrestrial planet. And I said, okay, now boys and girls, it's crop circle time. So we're going to go to Earth and you're going to make your little crop circles. That was her theory about it. So
I would agree with that.
Thank you so much, Adam, for your amazing work. And I look forward to just tracking what you're doing because it's so important. And again, thank you for such an incredible helping us to understand not only our world, but our relationship to the world. Thank you so much.